Now, let's start from the beginning. What color flag do you use to get those fellows started?
The green flag starts the race.
Now, you signal the winner with what sort of a flag?
We use a white flag to signify that he has one more lap to go, and of course he's given the checkered flag to say that he has finished the race.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you alert the field with some sort of a different colored flag, say if they've had an accident?
Yes, Johnny, we use the yellow flag. And during the period that the yellow flag is in force, no driver is permitted to improve his position.
Now, what about, say if it starts raining and you want them, if the track is oily or slippery, you want them to maintain that same pace. Is that the yellow flag?
That's the yellow flag in which they operate under.
All right, so you're driving a car and I'm driving one. Can I can't slip around you in a deal like that, is that right?
No, you're not permitted to improve your position.
What happens if I should do it?
Well, we'd call you in.
All right, now, what other uses do you make of the flags?
The black flag we use by presenting the driver with his number and signifying with the black flag that he is to stop for consultation at his pit.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you have a flag, I have never seen this one used, but do you have a flag in the event you actually wanted to stop that race and stop all of the drivers?
Yes, Johnny. One we hope we don't use, and that's the red one.
The red one?
Yes.
Thanks to you, Harlan Fengler, referee of the annual 500-mile auto race at Indianapolis each Memorial Day. Now this is Johnny Ope of the Monitor Sports Staff in Chicago, who's waving a flag for our two pitmen to tell them we're coming back in to Radio Central.
Thank you, gentlemen. Later today on Monitor, Sam Hanks, the winner of last year's Memorial Day 500, will report on the progress on this season's time trials.
Who was the first to put air into tires? Dunlop. Who was the first to foam rubber? Dunlop. Whose tire has gone the fastest of all? Dunlop. All that is history. Cut out the mystery. What have they done lately at Dunlop?
From Dunlop comes a tire to make your Memorial Day holiday weekend safer, more carefree. It's the new Dunlop Gold Seal tire designed for nylon's extra strength. In addition, Dunlop's exclusive Cobra Curve tread increases traction, ensures uniform tread wear, prevents corner squeal, and makes every stop safe and sure. Get new Dunlop Gold Seal tires for your holiday weekend. They're guaranteed against road hazards for 2.5 years. Now, any questions?
You cleared up the mystery. They're still writing history. That's what they're doing at Dunlop.
Monitor on the Road has been brought to you by Dunlop Tire and Rubber Corporation.
Oh, my goodness, Winch.
Well, it's not the door, Jerry. I just had a Ruberoid home check.
Oh, then I'm sick.
I always say it's important to keep your home in top condition.
Well, I wish you'd keep me in top condition.
And today it's easy. With a free home check by your Ruberoid home expert. He'll check the whole exterior, roof, vent pipes and chimney, the caulking around your windows, your siding, insulation, gutters, and downspouts. With this Ruberoid home check, you'll know if your home needs any repairs or improvements.
And you mean to say that you get all of that free?
All free. So call your Ruberoid home expert. You'll find him listed in the yellow pages of your telephone directory under roofing materials. Look for his number now. And remember, the name Ruberoid has stood for top quality in building materials since 1886. Plan now to call your Ruberoid home expert for your free Ruberoid home check.
Lefty, 2 for a nickel, 3 for a dime. Coming up, George Goebel and Fibber McGee and Molly.
And friends, if for some reason or other you were not able to hear the preceding half hour of Monitor in its entirety, please drop us a line in 25 words or less explaining why. And the person writing the best excuse will receive as a prize the company of Peter Roberts and Walter Kiernan will redo this past half hour right in the privacy of your living room.
And for you losers, we're going to expropriate your radios. In other words, you're going to lose them.
This is Monitor, the NBC weekend radio service.
And at this point, Monitor would give a 5-minute cutaway for local stations to do their thing. And of course, we will come back and do our thing with more of Monitor from May 17th, 1958. Some of the other people who appeared on Monitor, great comedy talents: Woody Allen, Bill Cosby, Selma Diamond, Phyllis Diller, Ernie Kovacs, Bob Newhart, Gene Shepard, Jonathan Winters, Nichols and May, Stiller and Mira, and of course, Bob and Ray. Henry Morgan, and more people from the Golden Age, and we'll hear some of those when we continue. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater here on your favorite station, and we'll be back with more of Monitor in 4 minutes.
See where your imagination takes you this summer at the Science Museum of Minnesota. Dive into interactive fun and learning both inside the museum and outside in our backyard. From dinosaurs to theme days, there's so much to explore. Get tickets now at smm.org.
Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater on your favorite station. I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the other great hosts of Monitor that included such people as Jim Backus, Frank Blair, of course, the inimitable Bill Cullen, Jerry Damon, Frank McGee, Durward Kirby, and so many other greats. I mentioned Bill Cullen, Joe Garagiola, Monty Hall. We mentioned Walter Kiernan, because you're hearing him today, Ed McMahon, Gary Moore, and we mentioned earlier Henry Morgan and Gene Rayburn. Oh my gosh, such wonderful people. In later years, Don Imus, Murray the K, Robert W. Morgan, and Wolfman Jack. Oh my gosh. Let's get back to Monitor from May 17th, 1958.
Peter Roberts and Walter Kiernan with Monitor. Also with us, George Goebel and Fibber McGee and Molly.
Friends, 2 weeks ago on Monitor, we made a little offer that was exceptionally well received by our listeners. It was a do-it-yourself arrogance kit. As was expected, we received a number of letters from people who were already arrogant and had no use for the kit. So for you people, we have developed a do-it-yourself nice guy kit. And in it, you will find
15 of the toothiest smiles we could lay our hands on.
a pocket full of small change with instructions on how to pass out the money to deserving panhandlers.
A 1941 wreck of an automobile that you can lend out to any of your friends without the slightest bit of apprehension.
A tight glove to ensure firm handshakes.
And finally, an empty apartment for your friends to throw parties that would certainly break the average lease.
Now, if you would like to have a do-it-yourself nice guy kit, just send a letter to I Want to Be Liked in care of Walter Kiernan.
Oh, no, you don't.
NBC New York.
No, you don't.
Next up on Monitor, a Blue Ribbon Special. Now, George Goebel, brought to you by the Pabst Brewing Company, brewer of Pabst Blue Ribbon Beer, Old Tanker Ale, and Undecker Draft Supreme.
This is Lonesome George presenting Pabst's 100 Million Barrel Waltz. It's dedicated to us, the folks who helped Pabst make this Blue Ribbon record. Listen. They're playing our song.
100 million barrels now of Pabst Blue Ribbon beer have played their part in friendliness, in fellowship and good cheer.
100 million barrels now since 1844.
Yes, Pabst makes it perfect. We're looking ahead to 100 million more. Come, pour, we invite you to pour a Pabst Blue Ribbon toast To 100 million barrels of cheer, we thank you for buying that good Pabst beer. Come, pour, we invite you to pour a Pabst Blue Ribbon toast.
Pabst Brewing Company, Milwaukee.
Now here again, George Goebel.
Do you remember when you were a kid how much fun it used to be to get the whole family together and go on a picnic? I mean, I remember when I was a kid how much fun, but, you know, it isn't that way anymore. It just didn't. I know, because, well, we went on a picnic yesterday with the Schumachers. They're the people who live next door to us, and frankly, Schumacher, he isn't the kind of a fella you'd go to a dog fight with. But his kids play with our kids, and, well, his kids don't play with our kids exactly. They beat the living daylights out of our kids, is what they do, but our kids seem to get their kicks that way, so we went on this picnic with them out to the park. And while the wives were setting the table and the kids were beating up on each other, Schumacher and I were supposed to be building a fire. Well, now, doing anything like that with Schumacher is like trying to hold a maypole dance with the Russians. I mean, he's one of them bushy-tailed fellas, and he thinks he's so smart. He thinks he's so smart. He said, Goebel, get some big dead limbs and some dry grass. That's what we need to start this thing. Well, now, of course, he couldn't have been wronger. I mean, if he'd have put all of his energy into the thing, he just could not have been more wronger. And I felt a certain obligation to tell him so. So I said, Schumacher, I said, you're full of canal water. What we need are little twigs and old newspapers. And we went around like that for a while, standing nose to nose with him yelling big limbs and dry grass and me yelling little twigs and old newspapers. And, well, being grown men, we finally reached a compromise, and we did it his way. And now the thing didn't catch right away like we'd figured, but, well, we got almost enough smoke to make it a job for the inhalator squad. And after about an hour or so of wrestling with the thing, we got about as much fire as you'd normally get from a kitchen match. And I said, okay, Schumacher, get the hot dogs. And he said, what do you mean? What do you mean, get the hot dogs? We brought the buns. You brought the hot dogs. Well, we yelled about that for quite a while, too, and we finally found out that we both brought the buns and neither one of us had brought the hot dogs. So we had potato salad and slightly toasted buns, and that was my last picnic for this or any other season. I'm going home now to get a square meal indoors. So until next time, this is your old friend Lonesome George leaving you with this thought. The main thing wrong with this country is we don't have enough women in Congress. If we're going to spend all of that money, let's get somebody in there who knows how to spend it. So long, neighbors.
George Goebel also is brought to you by RCA, the Radio Corporation of America, and RCA Victor, first in home entertainment.
Say, darling, may I offer you an invitation to come to a little celebration?
From the new Broadway smash hit, Say Darling, RCA Victor brings you an original cast album featuring David Wayne, Vivian Blaine, and Johnny Desmond. Hear the big band, the big song hits, and the greatest hi-fi sound ever recorded in an original cast album.
You're on the monitor beacon. Take one.
And we'll actually take three. The conclusion of Monitor from a Saturday, May 17th, 1958, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll hear the conclusion coming up in just about 3 minutes. You're listening to the special edition of Classic Radio Theater on your favorite station.
See where your imagination takes you this summer at the Science Museum of Minnesota. Dive into interactive fun and learning both inside the museum and outside in our backyard. From dinosaurs to themed days, there's so much to explore. Get tickets now at smm.org.
Classic Radio Theater on your favorite station. If I sound more excited than usual in this show, that is not really our regular genre. It's that Monitor held promise of carrying